that question, I will be getting into their master plan, but you know what their master plan is. It is death. It is destruction. It is complete and total war against free humanity.
That sucks.
And the globalists, in their own writings, over and over again, we covered this in my film Endgame, with their quotes and where they said it, they talk about irrevocably changing the human spirit. And they describe themselves as gods, but they're not gods. They're just humans on a power trip. And they talk about how they are changing our species. They talk about how they are changing who we are. And if they were changing us for the better, that would still be wrong because they didn't ask us. And they're the ones making the decision whether they're changing us for the better.
That's right.
But they admittedly are changing us for the worst. When they get on CBS News and say, mercury, the feds have shown, actually helps children and their learning, not hurts them. It cognitively enhances us. That's their sick joke. For them, lowering our IQ, dumbing us down, is a cognitive enhancement. For them, lowering our IQ is an enhancement because it's enhanced for them to make us more servile and more easily controlled. So the big issue at the end of the day is realizing evil, realizing it exists, learning how to recognize it. You know, we're taught that Mao and Stalin and Hitler and Pol Pot are evil, and they certainly were. But we're taught to recognize evil as something from the past, black and white films. We don't see a creeping, slow death in control of our society at every level. And it's scary to realize this, but it's also empowering to know it. Because the greatest solution is knowing your enemy, as Sun Tzu said, and understanding what they're doing and knowing that they don't have your best intentions at heart. In fact, they want you dead so they can have the future for themselves and their children and their grandchildren. And once you know that, you understand that it doesn't matter whether they kill you individually. It doesn't matter if your neighbor laughs at you. It doesn't matter what your boss or employees say, because you have the truth, you have their own documents, you have their own reports, and you know who they are, and fundamentally you understand that all of us individually will pass away. It's just like waiting for Christmas when you're a little kid. Pretty soon it comes. But once you're an adult, it's there all of a sudden. The years just speed by. All of us are going to die sooner rather than later, but we live on through free humanity. And once you commit yourself to this species, once you love your fellow man and woman, once you understand these greater truths, once you understand the level that we're playing against and how high the stakes are, it doesn't matter anymore what they do to you individually, because they cannot stop an idea whose time has come. Yeah. Nothing will stop it. The globalists have spun this incredible web of technological control. They have beguiled us. They have seduced us into using their iPhones and their computers. They are engineering a society where we are all 100% dependent on a system created by DARPA and the CIA more than 30 years ago. And this is a system of surveillance, of control, of, as Google now admits, literally predicting the future by tracking your mass movements and your individual movements. Think about that. And more we now see them removing the freedoms that were once on the internet. We see them more and more talking about curtailing free speech because they've misjudged. They plan to use the World Wide Web as a worldwide wiretap. But now they understand that we, the individuals, have seized that system and are using it effectively against the globalists.
Yeah!
How many of you saw the 1010 Project TV commercial?
Yeah.
Joe!
Going off, man.
you saw TV ads run in England to school children, put in front of movies in England? They tried to air them in the U.S. How many of you saw a teacher sitting there as this authority figure in front of her students saying, who's going to make a cut in their carbon footprint? Oh, Jenny, you are. Bobby, you are. David, you are. Karen, you are. Oh, you 5 kids aren't gonna make a carbon cut, which is just a tax to the globalist.
No pressure.
Yeah, she said, there's no pressure. She said, you've made your decision. And then she hits a button and they explode and blood splatters all over the other children. And then they had another commercial in the same ad, continued, where it shows a corporate manager and he's standing up above him on the second floor and all the employees are down there below and he's the authority figure. And he says, how many of you are going to make cuts in your carbon footprint? And most of them say they are. And he goes, that's good, it's your decision, but some don't. And he hits a red button and murders people. And then it shows a radio talk show host who won't make carbon cuts and a soccer team that won't make carbon cuts, and they have to be killed as well. And now the phony environmentalists, the people that don't care about genetic engineering or nuclear weapons, they come out and they say more and more, yes, we are eco-fascist. We want to bring tyranny to save the earth. They're our saviors. We have to bow down before them. We have to go along with their agenda to artificially cut off our resources in the name of the environment. But my point is, if you go to Australia and you read ABC News in Australia, they teach children in the public schools, headline, children taught when to die, that when you're age 14, you should commit suicide. And then we wonder why there's record suicides. But don't worry, they've got serotonin reuptake inhibitors that admittedly, on the insert, increase suicide to treat your suicidal tendencies when you're taught as a 5th and 6th and 7th grader how to commit suicide. This is all out in the open. And what they're doing is they're turning off our survival instinct. They're teaching us that it's a good thing to want to die. They're teaching us that we're a pile of crap that needs to go away. They're telling us that we have no worth and that we need to get out of the way for the whales and the giraffes and the elephants and the Bengal tigers. But that isn't even the truth of the matter. They want us out of the way for them, because the globalists have suppressed incredible life extension technologies and other systems, and they don't want to give you access to it. And so we are literally frozen in a form of modern dark age, given limited technological advancements, while on the government and corporate reservations, they have taken our technological development to levels, from the reports I have from inside, that are absolutely unbelievable. If you went back 100 years ago and told somebody we'd have cell phones, or that we'd have jet airplanes, or that we would have genetic engineering, they would laugh at you. And it's the same thing today. What we know of, what we understand, is only a small part of what the controllers have now gained access to. And that's why they're so full of arrogance. That's why they're so full of hubris, because they have all this technology. They're on amazing power trips. But there's one big problem with the equation. They're not giving and loving people that realize they're part of this species and connected to everyone else. Even if they lie to themselves and tell themselves that they're gods, they are still connected to each and every one of us. And when they commit that crime against humanity and our species, they commit a crime against themselves. Here's an example. Whether you look at China or Europe, anywhere in the world, it's the same thing. The more cunning, the more backstabbing, the more manipulative you are, the more